My experience with her was biblical. I explored the world and saw it was good. She made our skin invincible, our lungs content without air, and our eyes magical so we could witness a volcano on the verge of eruption. Reds and oranges you'll never see burst and float around us, and she told me who and what she was. She was something like 10,000 years old, something like a native of this planet, and something like a genie. For a time, she granted the wishes of men and those who came before men. 3 wishes, she made that clear. Our legends understood the limit of 3 correctly. They did not understand the cost of being a genie. According to Jen, the genie and the wish-asker were bound together until death. The man in the basement was one soul bound to her. Sometimes he showed up without warning. He knew exactly where she was at all times. Those were the rules. "I cannot keep him at bay," she said. And this great woman who could make us survive a volcano dropped her head in shame. "Hey, there," I said. I was not a good comforter. I reached for her back and rubbed it in small circles. "Not your fault, right?" Well, if she was something like a genie, I assumed he rubbed the lamp and then, I don't know. "Why are you rubbing my back?" she asked. Curiosity overpowered her grief. "My mom used to rub my back when I got sad." "Why did she do it?" "I don't know. It's what moms do to make sad children happy." "Does it work?" I smiled. "I don't know. Do I look happy to you?" "No," she laughed with her whole face. Her cheeks rose and went a rosy red shade, her eyes crinkled, and her throat made an inhuman but loving crackle, like wood in a winter bonfire surrounded by friends. "You are sad. You might be sadder than me, and I tried to jump off a building." "All right. Well, I'm not that sad." She did not stop her strange but pleasant laughter. "You were alone on New Year's," she managed between laughs. "In a room full of hundreds of people, you were alone on New Year's. Maybe you should have been sad." Her laughter started to hurt. Every ha-ha-ha was a reminder that I was not only not that guy, but I wasn't any guy. I wasn't worth anything. Until I realized this girl in front of me was happy. She who had nothing else to live for after 10,000 years found joy in life. That's beautiful, and I helped make that beauty, so I laughed too. "Hey Jen, want to hear something funny?" "Yes, more, please. This is excellent." "The first thing I thought of when I saw the big guy coming down the stairs is, thank God, someone to kiss on New Year's." She howled at this, and we both rolled and laughed in the volcano. That wasn't true, by the way. I was scared out of my mind then. I'm glad it made her laugh, though. As she laughed, I remembered my mission. It hadn't changed since the beginning of the night. I had to get this girl to want to live. I felt bad for her, and I guess I kind of related to her hopelessness at times. So I tried to remind her of the beauty of life. No longer bound to fulfill any wishes, she could do whatever she wanted. I asked for us to live in the Amazon, invisible to mankind, and to make us a friend, not prey, to wildlife. We were cleaned by mama gorillas, cuddled jaguars, and asked birds to sing us their best songs. I know women like flowers, so each day I searched for a new flower to give her. When I gave it to her, she would smile with her lips and not her eyes, a polite, cordial smile. I was trying to make her happy, but to no avail. Once I had given her every flower I thought was beautiful, I moved on to plants. One such plant was a bromeliad. It was a bright green plant that held water in small circles near the top of it. I handed it to her. Her whole face smiled. "Thank you, Nate," she said, and took the plant from my hands, placed it beside her, and gave me a strong hug. "Oh, you're welcome," I said. "I didn't know." She released me from the hug and reached for the plant. No, she reached for something inside the plant. She brought out something small and green from it. "I love frogs so freaking much," she said, and snuggled the thing against her face. It snuggled back. "Why didn't you say you like frogs instead of flowers?" I asked. She gave me that dead stare that she always did. I was getting used to it. I said never mind, and she went back to snuggling her new friend. After we grew bored of the rainforest, I asked if there was anywhere she wanted to be. She said no, so I asked for us to be around the greatest creative minds of our time. We floated as ghosts and watched Grammy winners craft albums. Then we walked in empty theaters, and she made never-before-seen screenplays of the greatest screenwriters appear on the screen. After that, we traveled the world to see architecture that man hadn't seen in thousands of years. It was all incredible. I loved this planet. I loved life. At the end of all that, I said, "So, Jen, how are you feeling?" "Good. This was fun," she shrugged. The frog slept on the top of her earlobe and her smile lit her eyes. I did it. She didn't want to die anymore. "So, you don't want to die anymore?" "No." She was taken aback. Her eyes made a judgmental squint and her neck snaked back. "Why should I live?" "Okay, time for a speech," I thought. "You shouldn't die because there's a reason you're here." I grabbed her hand. "You're meant to be here." "Nathan, please don't say that." "What? I mean, that's objectively true. We're all here for a purpose. Nathan, I'm asking you nicely. Please don't say that." "No," I challenged, full of moralistic boldness. "You have a purpose. Don't say that." She didn't have the dead glare. She snatched her hand back. She was angry. This was a boundary I was crossing. However, it needed to be crossed because it was true. She had to know. "No, I'm serious." I smiled wide. It felt like evangelism. "Well, good. This is something that everyone should know. Your life is worth living. You're here for a real reason." She pushed me with one hand. I stumbled backward, confused. Jen wouldn't meet my gaze. Her black hair draped down her head and made her look like a ghost or a monster, but the strain and frustration in her voice was all too human. "Don't say that to me," she commanded me, and pushed me again with a powerful hand. "No, there's a reason you're supposed to be here. You do matter." I screamed at her. I did have to fight back, right? I did have to make her understand this, right? She snapped her fingers. That's all I saw. That's all I could focus on. The snap turned to a pointer finger and pointed right. We were in a different country. We were in a hospital. The words written on the hospital equipment and warnings on the chart were in a language I couldn't read. I understood the beep, beep, beep of a heart monitor, though. I lost 2 grandparents to cancer. I followed Jen's fingers to see a barely conscious teenage girl covered in blue sheets in a hospital bed. "Tell her she doesn't matter then," Jen commanded. The room shook, the equipment rattled, and a siren went off in the hospital. Was it an earthquake? "A bomb," Jen said. "Bombs are on the way. Her leukemia won't kill her. The bombs will in less than a minute. They will kill you too unless you tell her. There's not a reason for her to be here, and she doesn't matter. That's the logic, right? If you're still alive, you have a purpose, but if you die, then what? You didn't matter? You didn't have a purpose? Tell her that." A crash shook the room again. I refused to look at the dying girl. "Jen, what?" "I'm going to make it as simple as possible. You said I needed to live because I had a purpose to fulfill. That means if someone dies, their purpose is over. Tell that child that their death is part of some grand will or plan. Tell her that. Jen, I understand. Let's leave. Tell her. You can stop this, you know. You have the power. I do not. You win. Let's leave. You're pathetic. You won't even look at her. Let me leave." Jen snapped her fingers. Someone screamed. "Yamila?" "Yes." Someone screamed. "Yamila!" "Hurry up," Jen announced between the shrieks coming from outside the room. "That's her mom screaming her name. We need to leave so she can say her goodbyes." I panicked. It was hard to stand. I swayed from side to side. The world spun. Nathan, she wants to see her daughter before she goes. Hurry up. You could save them all with a snap. I know you could. Even if I did, it wouldn't matter. Children die in your hospitals every day. Do they not have a purpose? Should we visit them next? The room shook. I heard her mother stumble and sing a tear-stained yell through the hospital. Yamila, the mother sang. Look her in the eye and tell her, Jen commanded. No, you wouldn't let her die. Do you really believe that about me? I didn't. Oh God, I didn't. I believed those empty brown eyes could see my skin fray and then go play with frogs in the Amazon. I was scared out of my mind. Look at her, Jen demanded. I did as I was told, and through foggy eyes I said to the girl, You do not have a purpose. Jen snapped her fingers. We arrived in an apartment in a place that felt like New York. The stillness of it shocked me. I distrusted it. I still felt the bombs coming. I knew we were hundreds of miles away and overlooked a basic American city in some apartment, but I just knew the bombs were coming. They should come. How was that fair? How was any of that fair? Something broke in me. You're the one who believes that. I don't. It's not my fault, Jen said. Her eyes were dry. You made me lie. I leaped at her. Rage inspired every movement. I don't believe that. You made me lie. It's the logic of your words, she mocked. Congrats. You and every high schooler in a debate club can beat me. Congrats. That girl wasn't in high school yet. Do you think she could beat you in a debate? Maybe that's it then, I scolded her. We lie because we must to people who die. I will live trying to figure out how to prevent deaths like that from happening, and so will you. Do you hear me? So will you for the rest of your days, and then when I say you're done, you can jump off that building. Got it? Something possessed me. My body was not my own. This force took over my fist, and I swung my fist at her. I didn't hit her. I swear to you, I didn't hit her. She leaped back, falling. The frog that I had forgotten that rested on her shoulder fell off, and I hope it wasn't hurt. Once landed, she put her face to the ground. Yes, master, she said, and her face did not lift from the ground. My adrenaline vanished. Oh no. I backed away from her. My fist pulsed with pain despite not hitting anything. I feared my body was not my own. Jen, I'm so sorry, I said. And please do not call me master. She did not rise. Her body was so still I wondered if she had lungs and flowing blood. Eventually she did move. Her eyes judged me once again like they did when we first met. I didn't dare reach out to help her. I couldn't believe I almost hit her. I had never hit anything. I stared at my hand. It swelled slightly and did not feel like it belonged to me. It took effort to curl and uncurl my fingers. You can't resist it, she said, and picked herself up. You can't escape the natural pull of things. It's how all of you start. No, I don't hit people. I'm not people. I can't escape the natural pull either. You will make me submit to you because that is the way. She stood to her full height now. That's how all of you are. That's your nature. One of the reasons I must die. I stammered. Things could be different and better. Tell me how to make things better. Again, she looked me over. She judged me, and then collapsed into a seated position on the floor. I am so tired of things could get better. As she said it, I truly felt like she was 1,000 years old. I'm so tired of you people and your empty platitudes. I want you to see how bad things could be, and you tell me how things could get better. Imagine with me. What if I lied? She said. What if I wasn't your friend? What if I was a strange, lonely man who happened to stumble on an all-powerful lamp? What if I started as a friend? What if I became more than a friend? What if I changed over time and trapped you in the basement and no one was there to save you? Tell me how much better things get when you're broken. She snapped her fingers. I blinked. When I opened my eyes, I was in that basement again, and the large man from before stood in front of me.